What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today I want to talk about the $1.9 trillion stimulus package. But rather than talking about what is included, which is something that I've covered a ton over the last couple of weeks, instead in this video I want to talk about what is not included. And I want to talk about what these programs and what these funding options are that have been left out of the bill, why they were left out of the bill, and what this means for you and the future of those programs. So let's get started. So I'm sure that you guys have noticed by now that this YouTube setup is different than my normal setup, and that's because I have been working over the last couple of weeks to improve the YouTube studio. I've really been looking for ways to improve the quality of the content that I put out, and lighting and just the YouTube set was a big part of that. So a couple of weeks ago, I hired a company to help me improve my YouTube set by improving my lighting, my sound quality, my camera quality, and we are basically done with the improvements. I'm waiting for one more thing to come that will be mounted in the background. That will be my new backdrop. But other than that, and some soundproofing panels that I need to order, the YouTube studio is done, at least for the time being. So I hope that you guys like the new setup. I hope you guys like the new quality. I would love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment down in the description below. But now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this $1.9 trillion stimulus package, because there is a lot that is included, but there is a lot that's not included as well. And I think it's important to talk about those aspects so that we know what to expect in the coming months. Number one is the minimum wage. Now, this is something that I've talked about a lot over the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months. This was something that President Joe Biden did include in the original bill that he announced and he released back in January. But over the last couple of months, it has been taken out in its entirety. The reason why this has been taken out is because of the fact that it's not considered budget-related legislation. You see, with this $1.9 trillion stimulus package, it's getting passed through a process of budget reconciliation, meaning that the only things that can be included in this bill are things that are related to the budget. And lawmakers have decided that the $15 minimum wage simply did not have enough to do with the budget in order to be included in this bill. Lawmakers did discuss a few non-traditional avenues that could have been explored in order to get this passed, including doing a minimum wage increase in increments over the next 4 to 5 years, as well as penalizing companies that did not pay their staff a living wage through a tax penalty. But ultimately, this was left out in its entirety, and the minimum wage will not be addressed in any way, shape, or form in this stimulus package. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be addressed at all. Chances are minimum wage will be addressed at some point in President Joe Biden's presidency. Will it be a $15 minimum wage? I don't know. I think it's probably doubtful, but to be honest, I'm not sure. It might be a $15 minimum wage. It might be something lower. It might be something in the middle. We will simply have to wait and see. So my gut is telling me that this will be addressed at some point. It's just a matter of when, and the one thing we know for sure is that it is not addressed in this most recent stimulus bill. The next thing that was left out of this bill in its entirety was the eviction ban. Now, this was left out of the bill for the same reason that the minimum wage was left out. It was simply deemed not to be budget related enough to be included in this bill. Now, when it comes to the eviction ban, there are a couple of different routes that this could be extended, despite the fact that it was not included in the stimulus bill. Number one is through state legislation. So there are a number of states that are issuing eviction bans for their state. California and Illinois are two that are doing it, but there are a number of others. So I would do some research regarding your exact state and see what are they or what are they not implementing in regard to eviction bans. Now, there is a debate that people are having about whether or not a state level eviction ban is even constitutional. I'm not here to have that debate. I don't really know if it is or not, but what I do know is that that is an argument that people are making. So even if you live in a state that has issued an eviction ban, that doesn't mean that your landlord is not going to give you a hard time for it. They may still give you a hard time even if you are in a state that has issued an eviction ban. So just be prepared for that if you are somebody that may be applicable to. But a state level eviction ban is something that is happening. It is something that could be beneficial to you. You'll just need to simply look it up for your state and for your city. Alternatively is an executive order, and an executive order is absolutely a way that President Joe Biden could extend this eviction ban. And I could see this happening at some point between now and the end of March. Now, I don't think it's guaranteed, but I do think there is a chance that he could do that. And in this case, he could extend it maybe another 30 days. He could extend it a couple of months. We would simply have to wait and see. But this is absolutely something that could be done through an executive order. And I do think it's possible that President Joe Biden would go this route, given the fact that it couldn't be done through this bill. The next thing I want to talk about is student loan forgiveness. Now, this is something that has been asked quite a lot in the comment section of my videos, and the fact is this bill doesn't do a whole lot, at least on the surface, for student loan forgiveness. It does not offer student loan forgiveness in any amount, in any way, shape, or form, which is a disappointing thing for a lot of students out there that were wanting this. Now, student loan forgiveness is something that President Joe Biden has been pressured on quite heavily, I would say. There are a lot of Democratic lawmakers that want a full, clean slate student loan forgiveness program. There are others that want a larger forgiveness program, like up to $50,000. And an amount that President Joe Biden has thrown around, at least in the past, has been like $10,000. So there is a pretty wide-ranging scope of what Democrats specifically think this should look like. And this was not addressed in this most recent stimulus package, not necessarily because it couldn't be considered budget related, because I think there was an argument for that, but more so because this would just be too big of a hurdle for not only Republicans, but also Democrats to get on board with. Now, what this stimulus bill did offer is tax relief in regards to your student loan forgiveness. Now, what this means is there are millions of people across the United States, really tens of millions of people, that have income-driven repayment plans for their student loan debt. What this means is that basically you calculate how much you're making in income, and then you pay a percentage of that income towards your student debt. After about 20 to 25 years, the remaining debt is forgiven, but that forgiven debt is then considered income. So you have to pay taxes on that forgiven debt. This could potentially lead to a tax bill that would catch some people by surprise, which is never a good thing. It's never good to be surprised by a tax bill. And this $1.9 trillion stimulus package does address this, at least temporarily. This stimulus package would temporarily end the taxation on this forgiven portion of the loan. And as of right now, this would last until 2025, which means that if between now and 2025, you end this repayment period and you have a portion of your loans forgiven, you do not have to pay taxes on that forgiven portion of the loan. Now, I would like to note that as far as student loans go, there is still a pause on having to pay those back until October, and you will not have interest being accumulated on that loan in this amount of time. So that is something that at least you aren't going to get your loans forgiven. At least you don't have to pay them back right now, and you don't need to be making monthly payments on those loans, which is certainly better than nothing. And lastly is pandemic unemployment assistance. Now, this was included in the stimulus package, and it was extended, but it was not increased. And the reason why I wanted to include this in this video is that there does seem to be some confusion online about how much you can expect to receive through the pandemic unemployment assistance program with this newest stimulus package. You see, whenever this program was first kind of entered the mainstream media back in March, the payments were $600 per week, meaning that if you were unemployed, you would not only collect your traditional unemployment, but you would also collect $600 per week from the federal government on top of that. Then once that expired, it decreased to $300 per week. And that's where it's been ever since. Now, with this newest stimulus package, there was talks to raise that to $400 per week, and that did not end up happening. So PUA, or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, it got extended, but it did not get increased, meaning you will get the same amount of payments, but you could potentially get them longer than you would if this package did not pass. Honestly though, you guys, there is a lot that is not included in the stimulus package, though I do feel as though the stimulus package is pretty all-encompassing, and I do think it provides a lot of funding to a lot of different programs. But of course, like any package out there, it does have to leave some aspects out. And though this video didn't cover all of those aspects, it did cover some of the ones that I know you guys are most interested in. And just because it wasn't addressed in this most recent stimulus package doesn't mean it won't be addressed at all. And it will be addressed most likely at some point during President Joe Biden's presidency. And if it's not addressed, then we'll see what ends up happening. Now, remember that I will be doing a deep dive on this bill tomorrow. Once President Joe Biden signs this into law, I will be doing a run through over a handful of the different policies, what the policies are, what the funding options are, and what resources you have available to you in order to apply for these funds. So if you're interested in checking out that video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when that video drops. And of course, like always, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear your thoughts on this new YouTube setup. I am pretty excited about it, but ultimately I want you guys to like it as well. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.